Did you know there's a smarter way to pay for workers' compensation? GTM offers pay-as-you-go workers' comp. So instead of one big upfront premium, you pay based on your actual payroll each period. Better cash flow, fewer surprises. Visit gtm.com/business to learn more. Welcome to Capital Connect, a GTM podcast featuring the business leaders shaping the capital region and making an impact on our future. Conversations about growth, culture, and what it really takes to build something special in our region.
Welcome back to Capital Connect. I am your host, Quito Delgado, and we are proudly brought to you by GTM Payroll and HR. And today, I have the honor of talking to CEO and founder, co-founder of the Jahnel Group, Darrin Jahnel. How we doing, my man?
Yeah, Quito, I'm glad to be here, man. I'm excited. Thanks.
I'm happy to have you here with us, and I really appreciate you fitting us in. So a lot of people know who you are in the area, but why don't you, for those of you who are first getting to know you, introduce yourself, where you're from, what do you do these days, and we'll kick off the show that way.
Yeah, man, sounds great. I'm fired up to be here. I'll try to give you my life story here in 2 minutes. Grew up locally here, grew up Schenectady, Chalmont guy. Actually played a lot of basketball, played against your older brother, and still bitter about those losses. My wife,
yeah, you guys got worked a little bit.
Yeah, we did. My wife says, when are you going to get over that? I'm still not over it yet. Anyway, so grew up locally, Chalmont High School, went to undergrad at UAlbany. After Albany, late 90s, we moved down to New York City. My brother and I, my wife, we were all down there. We're down there for about 8 years, worked as a software engineer on Wall Street. As soon as my career started, was really a software nerd and really got into that. Did my grad schooling down there at NYU. Started a bunch of startups. I've got at least 10, 12 failed startups under my belt. And then around 2005, I had created an educational software program that was pretty cool. And we quit our jobs in 2005. We had really good jobs down on Wall Street. We quit those to run our educational software business. Almost went bankrupt. Went 70 G's in credit card debt. It was wild. That's about the time we moved back upstate and moved to Guilderland. My wife and I have 4 kids. We ran the educational software business from 2005 to 2012. And that's when really Jahnel Group got started. So in about 2012, and scaled the team up from just a few of us to we're at about 180 people now across all the companies. And it's not just Jahnel Group. We did our first acquisition 2 years ago, a company called LTI out of Schenectady. So we run that, and I've got another new startup, InfoLink, handling, helping companies claim the R&D tax credit. So a bit of a holding company now, kind of a portfolio of companies. We got some real estate as well. But that's my life in a nutshell. Happy to go into any bits of those stories that make sense.
No, absolutely. So right off the bat, you mentioned 12 different startups, went bankrupt a couple of times or that they failed. I guess my first question is like, why entrepreneurship? What, really has inspired you to say, I want to build something for myself, along with my brother? It seems like your brother's Jason.
My older brother, he's been my partner through all of it. And so, we just kind of were drawn to that. When we were growing up, actually, our aunt and uncle, they were entrepreneurs, and they ran a business down in Florida, and we got exposed to that and kind of saw just how exciting their lifestyle was. They always had a new adventure, and that was appealing to us. When we got down to New York City, we got in the big city and got exposed, in grad school to, other people kind of starting businesses. It just, it was something that we felt like we were just born to do, So a lot of those failures, I do want to caveat that. We were working our full-time jobs, so we were working nights and weekends on a lot of those. We were still doing fine financially, but we were putting tons of hours into these businesses only to release the software, and nobody cared. I got some really bad ones, Quito, but yeah, that's kind of, those first 10 startups, we were all working our full-time jobs while doing it.
So that's, and again, so I have these notes here, right? And I said, but I'm already going off script. So you mentioned so it's almost like those opportunities or those first couple of ventures were side hustles, as a lot of people like to say.
Yeah.
So what advice now would you give to individuals who have full-time jobs? They're doing well. Maybe they even like what they're doing, but they kind of something off to the side is drawing their attention. how do you help them, or what advice would you give to them as far as once they are ready to go all in on their business? How do they do it in a way that they don't fail?
Yeah, sure. So, for my, I may give different advice than like maybe another business owner would. Yeah. A lot of business owners, or bosses or leaders maybe don't want their people doing side hustles. Maybe it's a distraction from, hey, I'm paying you. I want your full-time effort. Me personally, I love when our people go off and are working on side hustles, right? Mm-hmm. I just feel like there's no faster way to learn. Somebody said I can go back and get an MBA or grad school or whatever, or I can go and start a business or 2 or 3 different businesses and try to launch something and sell it and figure that out. To me, you're going to learn at hyperspeed doing startups and side hustles. So I'm a big fan of that. And, we did that a ton. And it's got to be outside of your 40 hours. So it's a ton of nights and weekends. Not everybody's got that inside them, but, God bless me with a furnace inside, baby. I got a lot of fire inside and I'm ready to go. The one biggest mistake was we quit our jobs too soon. When that educational software business, again, that was probably like the 8th or 9th, maybe 10th business. And we took a week of vacation from our full-time gig and we pitched 12 schools. 11 out of 12 said they were going to buy it. So we're like, it's on, man. We're going to be rich, Yeah. And so I quit my job. Right at that time, my wife got pregnant with our first child too. So she quit her job. We moved to upstate New York. We buy a house in Guilderland. But I'm like, no problem, man. I'm going to be rich, Like 11 out of 12, we closed. But I learned this lesson the hard way. There is a major difference between somebody saying, I like what you got, I want to buy it, and then actually closing the deal, right? Yeah. You've been doing a lot of biz dev and sales. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I mean, I am a sales manager here at GM, got a team, and, we go through our pipelines where you're at. Oh, it looks good. They gave us the verbal commitment. It all looks good. And then we have a gong in the sales area that we get to ring when we close the deal, but they're not allowed to ring that gong until contract is signed.
Yeah.
And then even now I'm about to push that off is like until they actually process their payroll.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much that can go on. So, it's that follow through, it's that implementation. It's just really making sure that, the customer does what they said they're going to do.
Back to my story, we closed 0 of those 11 0. I'm like, well, I'm at least going to get half of them, right? And then realizing, like, again, passing a school budget, just because the teacher said I like it, I want to buy it. Nothing. I was so naive, you know what I mean? And we're high-fiving in the parking lot. We closed 0 out of them. And then we went probably another almost year without making any money. Same thing. We'd have great meetings. People did like our software. We had something pretty cool. But we just couldn't close the deal to save our lives, man.
All things happen for a reason because, here you are now. So big part of the story, because I grew up very similar to you, Schenectady kid, went to Bishop Gibbons, played basketball, football, went away to college in Boston and then lived in New Jersey for some time. But then once I started my family, we moved back to the capital region and we've been back ever since. And now my wife teaches and, we have a daughter. What was the draw? What made you and your wife and, you all say, we're going to leave the big city. Let's come back home.
Yeah, sure. Again, I love the city. But when, she got pregnant with our first kid, it was like, it's tough to raise a kid down there. People do it. But for us, we always knew we wanted to come back to the capital region. Both of our sets of parents are here. Eventually we got my brother to move back. So we got the whole crew here. And I love New York. I love upstate New York. That was kind of a no-brainer for us to move back. And so that was always in the plans and really glad we got the opportunity to do it.
No, absolutely. So when did you know that the Jahnel Group was going to work, right? Like, because, again, you went through a lot of trial and error before. And then when was that moment when, you and Jason were like, yes, like, bro, like, this one might be, yes, like, what was...
Yeah, sure. So we had a huge epiphany on this, right? All those failed startups were products, like SaaS products, right? We were kind of following the dream of, hey, we're going to build this amazing software. We're going to sell to millions of people. We're going to be loaded, life is going to be great. And I didn't realize how hard it was to actually run a product company, to have a successful product company. The whole time we were doing that, people were contacting us. They knew my brother and I were very intense. We worked really, really hard. And so people were always calling us, hey, my company needs this website, this web application, whatever. We kept turning that work down. We were like, nah, we're good. We're working on our own stuff. And so in 2012, we just were like kind of getting exhausted. We didn't have some fancy business plan. Jahnel Group was just like a little thing I kept for my side hustles, right? Like I'd do like small contracting gigs just to like pay my bill.
Yeah.
And that's what Jahnel Group was formed, right? It actually was formed back in like 2009 or something like that. And so in 2012, we're getting exhausted. We're like, yo, let's take the next project that comes our way. We're always getting, offers, but we're just turning them down. Literally, we make that decision the next day. The phone rings with a project. We take it, we kill it, make some money. We're like, all right, that was good. Phone rings again. We take it, we kill it. Phone rings again. And basically, the phone hasn't stopped ringing since. That's literally how it happened. And there was no real moment where we're like, oh, this is working. I can't really like point to a clear cut moment. But the thing that I realized is when you're a services company, if you just work hard, if you do well for your clients, if you're connected and you do business with integrity, work will continue to come to you, right? If you're in the right space. I mean, that's not always the case, but and so it just kind of happened organically. Or we blink and the team's at 30 or 40 people, and we're like, oh, this is working.
That's a great segue to my next question. At first, it's just you and your brother. At one point, do you guys say, we need some help here? We just can't bootstrapping this ourselves. We need to bring in some talent. How did you, when did you know that you need to bring in talent? And then, what did you do? Like, how did you build out the team? Like,
Sure.
Or someone
One of the keys was we hired a girl, Jessie Zwegenthal, who actually just left us. I could get choked up on that one.
We're going to get to that later. But keep going. Keep going.
So she was almost like a co-founder because she was with us in the educational software business. And so in that business, we always had a few employees, but Jessie was with us the whole time. She came out at 17 years old. And so as Jahnel Group got going, it was like me and my brother Jay and Jessie and we're like, hey, we're going to need help, right? And so we hired a college kid, and we hired Jessie's husband, Mark. He was a youth pastor. I couldn't afford proper software engineers, so I hired a youth pastor. So I trained him how to code, Oh,
wow.
And we were getting college interns and just kind of like fighting and clawing to build up a team. I remember some of like our first meetings, like we'd go out to clients. I'd be in there with like a ragtag team. And they were cool people. They were great, but like, they weren't like seasoned software people. So we go to the meeting. I go, yo, no one talks but me. I mean, you can talk, you can like, hey, how was your weekend? They had some good personalities. I said, if it's a software question or a business question, I'll take it.
Yeah. Yep.
If they ask you specifically, just hem it all a little bit and pass the ball to me,
Yep.
And so we had to fake it till we make it there for a little bit.
And it's interesting that the first person that you hired, though, was, because I know Jessie, and she does great, and we're going to get to, the pivot that she recently made, and the support that, the Jahnel Group, really has shown her. I think it's amazing. It's a great case study for, I think, more organizations to look at. But HR, like you hired her with her background. Was she doing the HR from the very beginning for you? Also kind of was she a jack of all trades?
She wore 20 different hats, man. She, on one of our first contracts, she was a graphic designer. She's like, well, I'm not really a graphic designer. I'm like, you better start learning. And she learned it in like a matter of weeks, and she was really good at it. And she's had 10 different roles with us, really. It's been awesome.
So now the Jahnel Group, for those in the capital region, I think a lot of people know, about who you guys are. I mean, if you've ever had the pleasure of winning a Times Union Best Places to Work or Top Workplace, Albany Business Review Top Best Places to Work, Jahnel Group's front and center, bringing the energy. Talk to me about, how you guys have gone about really building a great culture at the Jahnel Group.
Yeah, awesome, man. Culture is everything for what we're trying to do. Like you, Keto, I played a ton of basketball growing up. And I always love being a part of a special team. When you're a part of a special team, it's when people are at their best, right? It's when people are having the most fun. They're sacrificing for each other. People do way more than they ever thought possible when they're a part of this special team. So we wanted to create that kind of same atmosphere at any company that we, right? And at the beginning, it was just Jahnel Group. Now it's across the whole portfolio of companies. But it's creating that kind of special team atmosphere. And first and foremost, that starts with the right people, right? I'm obsessed when it comes to talent. I'm getting the best people. I don't care. I'll out-recruit. I'll out-hustle. I'm finding the best people. I'm recruiting them. I'm selling them on what we're doing, and I'm getting them in on our team, right? That's the key. And then it's my job to just take care of them, put them in positions where they can be successful, have them work with other cool people, put them in great clients doing really cool stuff. Once I find a great star and bring them in, just like a basketball coach, right? You go get a great player. Well, now it's your job to get them playing time, to put them in an offense where you got to take care of them so they want to stay. And that is the key to our model and our culture and really the key to the success. I mean, that's kind of the answer to like 3 different questions, all about finding the right people and then just taking care of them. They don't work for me, I work for them.
So how are you finding your talent today? I mean, you're in a competitive space, right? So how, you don't gotta, give away all your trade secrets.
No, I will give them away.
Okay,
I'm gonna go off on this one. I'll tell you this: at Jahnel Group, actually, also InfoLink and LTI, we recruit like a college football program, plain and simple. Everybody's out there. I can't find anybody. I'm like, how many people did you speak to? And they're like, I interviewed like 5, 10 people. I'm like,
that's
5,000, man. Last year we vetted 200,000 people. That's like a quick like LinkedIn stalking or maybe like a resume search. We interviewed 2,000 unique people. These are real numbers. We interviewed 2,000 individuals and we hired about 60 of them. So that's the type of funnel I'm talking about, right? Think if you're a college football coach and you need an elite quarterback. You don't put an ad on monster.com or I just dated myself. Nobody knows what Monster is.
Sound like that.
Put an ad online and go, oh, I had a couple quarterbacks apply, but they're fat, slow, and they can't throw. It's like, and nobody's out there. It's like, no, you want to get the stud quarterback. You got to get on a plane. You got to fly down to Texas. You got to recruit this guy and sell him on the dream, right? That's what it's all about. So when it comes to talent, we're obsessed. We've got a whole team, in order to do those numbers and interview 2,000 unique people. We've got a team of about 6 full-time recruiters. So that's a huge part of what we do. And I know I just went off on, man.
Listen, this is our sweet spot, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look where you're at, our headquarters. We do recruiting, all that good stuff. And I'll just add to that, they say in sports, particularly college sports, recruiting is the life. I'll sell sports injury. But they say the recruiting is the lifeblood of any successful team, right? And you don't just recruit players once a kid hits the transfer portal or somebody graduates. You are recruiting all the time. And it sounds like you guys are constantly recruiting. Like even if you don't have an open position, like how are you building that funnel? You just say, hey, let's have a cup of coffee. Like even if you don't have a position open right now, or you consistently just, if we like somebody, we'll hire them even if we don't have an open.
Yeah.
How does that work?
If we find the right person, we're going to hire them and figure out, we always say, find a great person, hire them, figure out how to make money off them later, right? If I get great people and I can't figure out how to make money or put a business model together that's going to support that, that's on me. That I'm a terrible entrepreneur and leader, right? Give me great people. We will figure it out. I'm saying too much It's really because we have built now at the leadership level, it's all those great people that we found who've now moved up through the ranks. They're the ones who are now, I've almost passed the baton to them. And we've got great leadership in place at all 3 of the different companies.
So I had like 2 questions in my head at the same time while you're talking, but you mentioned it initially, talent. I want to find the right talent, but we also know how important your culture is. So if you had to guess, which one is more important, identifying great talent or having a great culture to welcome that great talent?
That's a great one. I really think it's 50-50. I really do, right? Because if you gotta give me come on, it's such a cop-out.
That's a weekend. Come on, I expect it. I need the answer. If you had to pick one or the other.
You look at our culture is super fun. We've got all these gimmicks. I've never seen a culture like ours, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's super fun. If you take away all the gimmicks and the fun, we have a lot of gimmicks, right? Kegs and ping pong tables, and we do War Week events, and we're giving away cash, and that's fun and it's gimmicky. If you took all that away, and we just had great people, but we took care of them, I think they would stay too, right? I think that all the gimmicky and the fun stuff is really just a nice to have.
See, I'm going to push back a little bit, only from the standpoint of it's not gimmicks. Like, to me, like what you guys do at Jahnel Group or what any organization do, like culture is not pizzas. It's not happy hours. It's what you actually said earlier, that you're so used to it and ingrained in it that you just kind of, you may even not take it for granted, but it's like, we look to see how we put them in on fun projects. That's culture.
Yeah.
Teaming up with each other. We want them to have side hustles. Like, that's all part of the culture and the environment that you created.
That's a great correct one, right? And you're right. That's more important side of culture. I guess when I was using the word culture, I was thinking of more all the fun stuff, the gimmicks, the cool office, all of that. Yeah, that's a part of culture, but it's a smaller piece. It's really people working on great stuff with great people. That's what they care about more. And so, yeah, good correction. I accept that.
So now we kind of glossed on him. He's my man, so I got to give him some shine here. Jason, your older brother, and I have experience being a younger brother. Never have worked, at the same job or let alone started a business with my brother, but I am curious that dynamic. How do you guys, balance between being siblings, but then also being, co-owners or partners in business?
No, it works out really well. We each have complementary skill sets. I love being the face of it, being out traveling, business networking, sales, being out there. And he's a behind the scenes guy, right? He wants to be, he wants to be in the office, handling a lot of the back office stuff, the culture. So we've got very complementary skill sets. And I'm kind of more the visionary out there, pushing the boundaries, starting new businesses. And he's the one maybe preventing me/us from going bankrupt. Because, slow down a little bit. We've got a nice yin and yang going, and it really works well.
I think that's really important. So when you're working with family, it's like, yeah, it's cool. We can love each other and, root for our success, but you really want to make sure everybody, because we obviously work with a lot of family-owned businesses, second, third, fourth, generation. So, I would definitely love for you to kind of expand on, how do you guys settle disagreements? Do you guys ever disagree? Do you guys just go out in the back and run a 40-yard dash, or
let's just say like fighting?
let's shoot free throws?
I'll shoot over that because I will win those,
okay.
Right? But if it came down to a fight, he's my bigger brother, man. And if people don't know him, he's a big boy. He's 6'4", 240. We call him the War Machine. He was sent from outer space. I was actually birthed from my mother, but he landed in a spaceship, but we raised him like he was part of the family. Now, he is a savage, right? So when we argue, which is, we agree on almost everything, but when we debate and disagree, we don't ever override the other, right? Like, say I wanted to do something like really aggressive. Say I wanted to buy a company, and he's like, I didn't want to do it. Like, I'm not going to push and override him. And we'll kind of just keep working on what we're disagreeing about until we come to a compromise. We're like, all right, that's what we're going to do. You know what I mean? And not everybody can do that. I've heard so many horror stories of partners and family members working together, as I'm sure you have,
Absolutely. So obviously you guys you went from a startup to now you're scaling, growing. What would you say is more challenging, starting or scaling?
Hey, I'm a born entrepreneur. So I love the startup game. I mentioned the 3 companies. The InfoLink is the company we help companies claim the R&D tax credit. I'm kind of obsessed with that business. It's a startup. It's in that early phase. I love building the initial team, making those first sales, taking nothing and turning it into something. I love that, right? So I naturally get energized by that. So I'm going to say that that's easier. That's my preferred thing to do. Sometimes once the business gets going and gets established, me and my personality, I can get maybe a little bored.
Or you get bored with the basics? Yeah. So you need that next. You need that
to find the great people to come in and run it and that's gonna work for the type of ways they want to work.
All right, I'm gonna do a big pivot right now. But I think it's really important. Whenever we interview somebody or a leader or an entrepreneur, I really want to kind of dig into their particular expertise. And think it would be a big miss on my part if we didn't kind of get into a little bit of AI, right? So talk to me, hey, what's your overarching opinion on AI? And then maybe a part two to that is how throughout all of your companies are you guys embracing it? You know, I saw a LinkedIn post you guys launched. I don't want to give away the answer, but you guys launched, initiative at Jahnel Group to help with AI internally. So like, just kind of just want to get your overall thoughts on AI.
Sure. So I personally am obsessed with it. And so is everyone at our company. We've leaned in as heavily as you possibly can. I go through a roller coaster of emotions. And one day I'm like, oh my goodness, there's so much opportunity for us. We're going to use all these tools and we're going to, this is fantastic. Next day I'm like, man, AI is going to make it so they don't need software engineers, And then the next day I'll be like, the AI can't do it yet. They're going to need us. Like right now, our businesses are hotter than we've ever been. Like we're on fire. There's so much demand, so much work coming to us. But I'm still going through that roller coaster. And it's almost multiple times a week where I go up and down to like, this is awesome for us to, my goodness, are we even going to have a company, So it is scary.
Talk to me about Learn AI. You guys launched that. I think every organization has different bandwidth, different resources. So this may not apply to you, or to them for those who are watching. But talk to us about what you guys have launched internally. And then just really maybe give 2 or 3 bit of advice to, again, let's focus on our small to medium-sized business owners. Give some advice to them on how they can slowly integrate it.
Yeah, sure.
It's not going away.
No.
I feel like AI is but I feel like it's a little bit like social media when Facebook first launched.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a fad. And if you thought, no, it's here to stay. AI is here to stay. So.
Yeah. Or you think of an old executive who's like, we don't need a web page, or I'm not doing email. It's like, all right, dude, don't do email, but you got 5 more years left in your career and then you're done. But this is different, man. To me, if you are not embracing AI, I think it's extremely dangerous. I just think you're going to get left behind so fast, it's not even funny. I don't care if you're in a technical business or not. And I speak to so many people we all do, right? And some are leaning in, some are not. There's a spectrum of that, right? My strong advice to anyone listening who values anything I have to say is you've got to go all in and lean in on this technology. And if you can't use it at work yet because, the security and maybe your company policies don't allow it, you need to be doing stuff in your after hours on your own. You just absolutely have to. Otherwise, you will be left behind. That is my strong opinion, right? And so,
how do you go about when you say lean in, go all in? Like, how does somebody they want to learn the basics, or
sure.
It's the individual as a business, just kind of give them some tangible ideas.
Sure.
On you can use ChatGPT to do this. How about conversations? Because I've been in a couple of your workshops, so maybe dig in on just a few things that you talk about during those workshops.
Yeah, sure. I mean, there's kind of a ladder, right? First you got to start using the tools. You got to start using ChatGPT. Just use it like we all started. Ask it a question, get something back, ask for advice, help writing an email, right? Those are kind of that's like that first rung of the ladder. After that, maybe you want to go a little bit further. You want to set up some custom GPTs, right? And if you go, what's a custom GPT? Literally watch a YouTube video on how to set up a custom GPT. You'll have one running in 10 minutes. It's super easy. I subscribe to, I don't know if it's the Pro edition or whatever. It's $20 a month.
Yeah.
And I've got it on my phone, the app, and I've got the voice thing. I am literally every day, all day, I'm talking to this thing. I'm in the car, I'm driving somewhere, I bring up the voice and I'm asking questions back and forth. I'm learning at a faster pace than I ever have in my entire life, and it's not even close. Maybe start messing around with some of the image creation. Maybe try to vibe code something. That's a little bit of a next level thing.
Oh, it's not vibe coaching?
Vibe coding, right?
Coding. Oh, yeah. Coding.
So vibe coding is literally when you're interacting with an AI, say like Claude Code, and you're literally having it create a web application for you. You might say, well, I'm not a web developer. I can't do that. You don't need to be a web developer in order to start messing around with Claude Code, or there's other tools out there as well. A tool like Replit or Lovable, those are other great tools. And you can go on there and you can just whip yourself up an amazing web application. Now, I'm not saying that web application is going to be ready to go into production and run a business off of it, but you need to start doing this and seeing how to interact with these tools. People that are using these tools, it's going to be like they have superpowers compared to the people that don't lean in and know how to use these tools. It's going to be like cheating. I mean, I don't see how anyone could even possibly come close to comparing without the tools.
It's almost like, there's always moments in our history where, that they're defining.
Yeah.
And I feel like AI is definitely a defining moment. And the good thing though is, for the most part, everyone has access to it. You said you pay the $20, I pay the same thing with a subscription. But for the most part, we all have access to it.
Yep.
So that don't need to pay. You don't need to pay. You have access to it. So we're all, kind of starting at the same level playing field here.
Yep.
So there's really no excuse not to lean in.
Yeah.
And some may lean in a little bit more than others, but it's almost like self-sabotage if you don't do something.
Yeah. My mom's using it. You know what I mean? My mom is, she's almost 80 and she's using it every day. She uses the voice app on her phone and she's asking questions. If my mom can use it at 80, I just don't want to hear from anybody. Oh, I'm not technical. Like, come on, man.
No.
You've got to start using it.
No excuses. No excuses. Want to go back to, again, a big theme of this is entrepreneurs. It's also leaders, right? Who are some of the best leaders that you've been exposed to in your lifetime? What have you learned from them?
Well, like you, man, when I think leaders, I go back to like some of the great coaches I had and played for. Right? I played for Ronald Zinski in high school. I still love that guy. Coach O, man.
Yep.
He was crazy, but I was crazy. So we were a perfect match, man. In college, I got to play for Doc Sowers, legendary coach. That was really, really awesome. Had some great bosses in New York. And then, locally, one of the things that really was a difference maker for me was getting involved in peer groups. So I started with EO, Entrepreneurs Organization, and learned so much through that. I had an amazing forum and learned so much from people in my group, guys like Tim McCann, Glenn Shields, Andre Crisafulli, local folks. I also did a peer group called Vistage. That was extremely valuable as well. I'm in a new one of Sean Mahoney's groups. Sean, the Mahoney Institute, he's got me in a really awesome peer group. And so learning from other local entrepreneurs has been an absolute game changer for me. In these peer groups, we meet monthly and everybody goes through their major problems and we kind of process them together as a group. And so now I've been doing this for probably over 10 years now. So, think about that. That's 120 sessions I've had where I've gone and, processed other problems that other entrepreneurs are having, as well as my own. And so you start to see patterns and you can get so much better at this. So these peer groups, I think, were the biggest thing in my leadership journey.
Iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I tell my daughter who's 12, even right now when she's practicing, your teammates, who you practice with, who you know what I mean, who you get advice from, you're, again, going back to what we talked about earlier, environment.
Yeah.
All that matters. You mentioned athlete. Now we can go, I want to try to keep the conversation. We could go afterwards. I thought you and I, my point. So I'm almost reluctant to ask this question, but I gotta ask. I think it's a big part of both of our past. Playing in sports in college, what are some of the lessons that you learned, that carry over from being an athlete? And this doesn't mean you have to be in college now. We played in college, but even if you just played high school, but just in general, how has being a former athlete helped you now as a leader / entrepreneur?
I mean, it's shaped almost everything, my entire worldview, right? A couple concrete lessons. Ronald Zinski taught me, right? If you got a cancer on the team, somebody with a bad attitude, easily, you got to cut that out. You got to get that out. And, we don't play around, man. In our companies, like if people have a bad attitude or aren't, I don't even want to say fun to be around, we have a no a-hole policy. I'll put it bluntly, right? And if you can't work well with others, then I don't care how talented you are. You got to go, right?
You got to answer their question from earlier. There we go.
Yeah.
I think that's not segue, but that's the final piece right there. No a-holes allowed. If I don't care how talented you are, if you can't fit into the team, the coach, and work with that every day,
anyone listening to this, anyone who's lived life, has worked with some rotten people. I mean, it just ruins your day, ruins everything, ruins the job. You can't wait till your shift is over. Like, why would anyone allow that? I just don't understand that, you know? And so we just root that out immediately. And we haven't had to do that much, you know, over the years. I can only think of less than a handful of cases where that's been what we had to do, you know?
No, absolutely. So, going to get you out here on a few, more laid back personal questions. You have a lot of energy. You're obviously a family man, run multiple businesses. You're on different boards and go to different events. What do you do? You know, how do you kind of unwind? How do you balance, being a leader, I'm sure at home, but leader at work, within the community, but at the same time making sure, because you can't pour from the empty cup. Yeah. How do you kind of manage all that?
Yeah, despite my high energy, and I definitely have been, like I said, God gave me a gift with that. I can also be lazy, man. Like the last, there was the NCAA tournament somewhat recently here, and I can sit around and watch games all day long and just chill on the couch. And like a lot of people maybe are surprised to hear that from me, but love spending time with the family, watching a movie with my wife and daughter. I have 4 kids, but 3 older ones are kind of out of the house for the most part. So, just unwinding and chilling. I can do that all day long, man. Peace.
So one thing I wanted to circle back on earlier when you mentioned the name Jesse, but then I know you also had another employee, I forget his name off the top of my head, but you'll remind me, I'm sure, who ventured off and he started his own production company. So how much pride do you have in, obviously you hate seeing any of your employees leave, but that's part of the industry. But I've noticed, in both situations where you've recently had employees who have left to go start their own business, you guys have done thank you videos, you promoted their business. I think a lot of owners may be like, you're leaving me, but like you really were excited for them. What sense of pride do you have in seeing your employees go off and kind of bet on themselves?
Yeah, I love that, man. I love that question. Jet was the other guy. Jeff,
thank you. What's up, Jeff? Sorry for
Stud, man, and Jesse Z, and there's been others too. I think it's my brother and I measure success differently. I think a lot of people measure success by maybe the financial numbers or the number of employees or whatever. God put me here to help people level up, right? I measure my success by the amount of impact I can have, positive impact I can have in this world, right? And so if we can provide an environment where somebody comes and works with us, Jesse was with us 17 years, Jet, I think it was 10 years, and he's been in our environment and hopefully we've helped them. They've seen some of the skills, they've learned a lot with us, and that allows them to go off and do something on their own or something amazing. I'll celebrate that all day long, man, because there's more, young folks coming in the bottom of or I guess at the top of the funnel that we're going to invest in and just kind of repeat the cycle, man. God's got big plans for my life and the number of people I am here to impact, Hito. That is it, man. Bring them on. If you're out there, if you're talented, you're hungry and you're looking for a place, come talk to me. Let's go.
I love it. That's why I knew that. To talk swag, you go. I love like that locker room and that vibe, and it's good. So it's around here, man. I really enjoyed this. Again, we could honestly probably go another 2 hours, but I don't think Guy would be like, all right, man, I need to go close some deals too. So, what's the best advice you received?
There's so much advice, right? The most important thing I've ever learned is that Jesus Christ is the Savior, and I got to put my faith in him. But I guess if we're talking business-wise, I've kind of already beat this, horse to death, but talent first. It's all about talent. Go find the people. We often talk about the value of compounded interest with our money. I invest, and if I get a higher rate of return over time, that's going to return so much. But think about that in terms of people. Think if you hire 2 people, one person's a 5 and the other person's a 9.5. Well, just in the first week, how much more work and how much more value is the 9.5 going to bring than the 5, right? But then think about that the next week, the next week, the next month, the next year. Do compounded interest on the value of the people on your team. And the numbers get gaudy so fast, it's not even funny. It actually dwarfs compounded interest in a financial terms, right? And then that 9.5 is going to attract another 9, a 10, a 9.5. And that's the key to my entire philosophy. And so that advice kind of came from maybe 10 different sources, but that's probably the main takeaway.
All right, on the flip side, what's the worst advice you've ever followed where you're like, man, you did something, it didn't work out, you're like, who told me to do it? Like, yeah, you don't got to say their name. No, okay. Like, is there some advice you got to like, oh my God?
I have 100 of those. Oh my gosh, I have 100 of those.
What's the worst?
Probably the biggest thing that cost me the most was, when you start a business, people give you stats of like, oh, 1 in 10 businesses will succeed. And so I was like, oh, I'll be that 1 in 10. But I didn't differentiate, back to what I said before, between a services company and a product company. If you start a SaaS company, a software as a service, subscription-based software product, your odds of success have to be 1 in 1,000. I didn't know that. That's why I started 10 of, I was like, oh, I'll start 10, one of them's going to hit.
Yeah.
And so kind of believing that, I guess nobody really gave me that advice. I think it's just ignorance by people saying like, yeah, 9 out of 10 businesses fail. But you got to talk about businesses in different categories, right? Like if you were trying to become a rock star, well, what's your odds of actually, winning a Grammy and being in huge concerts versus, oh, I'm just going to give guitar lessons. If I give guitar lessons, I could carve out a little business here in Schenectady and be okay, And so it was kind of thinking, I was applying those stats of starting a business to the hardest business to start, meaning product business.
All right. Let's talk about the capital region real quick. Obviously, the show, it's all about local leaders, entrepreneurs. What's your favorite place to get a slice of pizza?
Favorite slice of pizza? I love Pizza King in Schenectady. Okay. And the customer service there is a little bit edgy, but the pizza's good. Yeah. King style, love home style. Yeah. Okay. What's your spot, man?
Inferno, right over on Kill, and I like them. And the pizzas, and if they see this, the pizza's okay. Yeah. But honestly, what I like, quite frankly, about them in particular, it's a husband, wife. So I just like supporting them. Yeah. I know. It's them. Sometimes I think in the wife, they just had a baby together. So you'll see literally the baby, the carriage in the back. So I just try to really go in and support them, family business, because they're just good people. Yeah. Is it the world's best pizza? No. Is it bad? Absolutely not. It's good. Yeah. But to me, it's not even about the food. It's more about the people, and I know we can support them. Yeah. Where do you go to get your coffee? You gotta go to drink coffee, man. No one can believe that because I'm so energy. I don't drink coffee. I guess I'll have a cappuccino from time to time, but I don't have a spot. It's not my thing. All right. We'll get you out of here on this. So obviously we want to connect to other individuals throughout the capital region that are doing some amazing things. So we want to get those individuals onto our show. So who should we interview next? But the caveat is they have to be local, and you have to help us get them on the show.
I love this question. I did think about this before. I got an up-and-comer for you that not many people in the region know about. And selfishly, he runs one of our companies, right? This guy, Mike Young, former athlete. He's a younger guy. He's in his early 30s, but he's the president at LTI, one of our companies. And him and his team have put together this amazing vision system for manufacturing companies. They kind of partner with a laser company. The laser projects down. They use this camera and vision system to make sure that manufacturing plants are putting things in the right place where the laser tells them to put it. Again, it's kind of long-winded if I describe the whole thing. This guy, Mike Young, is building a monster. He's an amazing leader. He was with us at Jahnel Group for 6-7 years before. 6-7. He was at 6-7, and we pulled him over to LTI, and he's running that company. He's absolutely dominating. I'm telling you, he's got good stuff to say. and he's an up-and-comer. He's going to build a monster at LTI.
All right. So,
And I got influence. I can get him on. I can get to squeeze him.
Honey Vinegar, you got to connect us.
I will.
Right? You got to connect us.
I will.
Darrin, this has been awesome. I really appreciate you. Real quick though, if they want to connect with you, how can they find you on social media, on your web, whatever you want to share? How can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, man, hit us up at go to Jahnel Group. You can reach us through that website. We're all over social media, all of the companies and me as well on LinkedIn. But I love to connect with folks and try to help if I can in any way. So don't hesitate.
My man,
Let's do it, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in to the show. Please make sure you like, you subscribe, you share. Let's help all of our guests and the Capital Region grow together. Thanks a lot.
When's the last time you updated your employee handbook? If it's been a while, even after a year, it may not reflect current laws or how you run your business today. GTM's expert HR consultants will write or refresh your employee handbook from scratch. Schedule a complimentary consultation at gtm.com/business. That's a wrap on this edition of Capital Connect. Thanks for listening and for supporting the businesses and leaders that make the Capital Region such a great place to work and thrive. Support for Capital Connect comes from GTM Payroll and HR, helping businesses streamline their operations with leading workforce solutions technology and local dedicated support so you can get back to what you do best. Learn more about payroll, HR, and insurance solutions at gtm.com/business. We release new episodes every week, so subscribe to the podcast to catch our next episode. We'll see you next time.